Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here, bringing you the final set of Stork vs. Hydra in the round of 16 of this ABC Mart MSL. Two gimme games, and the first one's basically being given to their opponents by each side. Stork forgetting Storm, Hydra mis-scouting completely. He had a drone there and just did not go far enough into the base to see the one base build from Stork. Completely missed it, so we're going here on set 3 to La Mancha, and we'll see if Stork goes for one base play again or goes with the normal Forge Expand. And I honestly think that one base play is a ploy that's not going to work more than once. Now Hydra's going to be more aware of it and make sure to fully scout a base, not try and cut that corner and the couple seconds that you do save by not going all the way in. I don't think he's going to make that mistake again, so I think we're going to see Stork play a more normal opening game. He just wanted to get that one game, throw something odd at Hydra, and see how Hydra dealt with it. And I don't think we really got a good glimpse of how Hydra would deal with one base play because he didn't see it, he didn't scout it properly. And that's kind of one of those mistakes that it sucks. I mean, obviously it's his fault, but I don't think it reflects on his ZVP versus one base play at all. It's just one of those things that sometimes occurs. And Stork is going to go for the Forge Expand build, and he's going to get the scout off first, and both players are actually going to get the scout off first, with the Overlord for Hydra being sent in the correct position as well. In case you've missed the first two sets or you don't know these players, Hydra is the red Zerg in the top right, and Stork is in the bottom right, the yellow Protoss. There we go, we got a spawning pool behind the mineral line, so it looks like an overpool build coming in for Hydra. It looks like maybe he was a little concerned that maybe if he got one base by Stork, maybe he was thinking, hey, maybe Stork's going to go 2-gate on me or some other rush build, and he's going to overpool, which it's still a relatively standard build, but normally I think I've seen Hydra go 12 hatch more than anything else, and most players do. It's just how it is. But Stork getting the scout on here, so he will be well prepared with his Forge and his cannon before the Nexus. I believe he should be able to get, he'll have to get one cannon before he gets his Nexus. He'll be in good shape. And he also was able to annoy Hydra by stealing a mineral, and he's going to stop this drone from building a Nexus or a hatchery. And he actually has more life on that probe, so this drone is going to be forced to run away. So that drone's going to go and set up at the third base, probably at the 12 o'clock position, and Stork actually putting a pylon there in the natural expansion, so really going to delay that. So the bases for Hydra are going to be separated. The first base at the top right, and then the second one's going to he's going to the top left natural expansion, so he's going to take that as the second, and Stork will probably cancel that. I can't imagine him letting that warp in with the overpool coming his way. The Zergling's going to be involved. Yeah, there, he did cancel it. And so I guess both hatcheries go down about the same point? No. Not yet. Well, the normal natural expansion is down. Zergling's heading towards Stork's base. He's got one cannon. It should be up in time, and we'll probably have a gateway as well to try and funnel the Zerglings a little bit. We do have some probes being pulled off to block just in case, and that should be enough probably to stop Hydra from going for a run by with just 6 Zerglings. Probably not. Actually, it looks like Hydra is going to go for it here. Probe's doing a pretty good job of blocking right now. 3 of the Zerglings do go down. 4? Nope, just 3 of them. So 2 of them will get in. Oh no, it looks like 2 probes do go down, but they do pick off 1 Zergling. So 2 Zerglings getting in there. So 4 Zerglings lost, 2 probes down. So right now about even, but usually give that advantage to the Zerg player due to the probe being miners. It looks like another probe going to go down there. So 3 probes lost right now for Stork. This is getting a little bit, if he loses any more, this is going to be kind of bad. Luckily there's only 1 Zergling left, so the chances of losing another probe are pretty slim, and he does. Oh, Stork, that is 4 probes lost to 6 Zerglings. That is not okay for Stork. That is definitely very, very poor on his part. Should not have lost that many probes, but that is definitely a small win right now for Hydra right off the bat. And he does have his 3 hatches going. That top left natural expansion is just about complete. Stork is sending that probe looking around at the 12 o'clock position. Then he'll go to the top left. He wants to know where that third base is. That is a pretty important part of Protoss strategy, is trying to figure out where that third base is. And I think he just scouted out the 12 o'clock position and assumed that's going to be at the top left, because bottom left would be ridiculous if Hydra put his base there. That would just be, it would be ridiculous. It is what, yeah, the statement is obvious. And Layer morphing in for Hydra. We did see Stork Cybernetics Core, so it's going to be a pretty standard build here. And yeah, first solid out, going to go try and harass the top left. anything else going on here of note. Doesn't look like too much, but it does look like we're going to, so far we've had a, well, not a completely mistake-free, but relatively mistake-free ZVP, nothing being given away so far. Stargate coming up first here, so we're not going to see anything crazy like a no Stargate Zealot attack or anything too crazy like that. And this Zealot is being harassive, and it's going to have to go into the corner here. You can actually stick it in to like the mineral lines, the Zealot, and try and really limit the number of Zerglings that are attacking it, so you can get maybe 2, and if you're very, very lucky, if you're quite good, you can sometimes even get three Zealots, or 3 Zerglings with that, if you're in the proper spot, and you can kind of, you know, it's possible. It's difficult, but if you've got really good Zealot micro and you dance around those lines very well, you can do it. We do have the second assimilator coming up for Stork, so this is the 2 gas builds, which have become very, very normal. 1 Zealot has 1 kill before going down. 2, will it get a 3rd? No, it will not. 1 hit away, it looks like, from getting a 3rd, but that's okay. We do have the Citadel coming up here, so still only 1 gate right now for Stork, and that's been the new strategy. Just keep 1, sometimes a 2nd gateway, and just get all of your tech going as much as possible, and then push out with whatever Zealots you've been able to macro up, and then you usually end up playing cannon defense because there's a whole lot of Hydras that you can't really deal with. That's what's happened on several occasions to a lot of players on various maps. It's not really map dependent, but you do see that, and Protoss players have gotten a little better at it, or maybe Zerg players have gotten a little bit worse at attacking it, but originally when this first started, I thought it was just the worst build ever, where you only have like 1 or 2 gate pressure, and you go for the double gas, because when you push out, your opponent has so many Hydras that you do end up retreating. Depending upon the timing, some of them, they were very, very quick. You didn't even really get a real attack in, and then you just had to play cannon defense, and sometimes cannons were late, and you didn't have enough of them, didn't have enough other units, and you got into real trouble. But it looks like Protoss players have kind of pseudo-perfected the build a little bit more, have gotten the timings down a little bit better, and have been able to deal with those Hydra pushes, and haven't been dying as they were originally, and they've been able to play the build in a better fashion, just able to get the tech going and able to get units out properly and use all the gas that they're mining right now. And we do have a random idle probe for Stork, doesn't really matter too much. And Temple Archive is just about done. We do have a cannon coming up in the main mineral line, and it looks like, yeah, that's it, just 1 cannon in the main mineral line to protect that Stargate from any sort of scourge. +1 is upgrading at the Forge, should hopefully be done relatively soon, along with the speed lots upgrade. And it looks like Hydra is going to be playing Turtle Zerg here with that 4th hatchery, or 4th base I should say, in the top left main. So Hydra's got a couple options. He can either go, or I'm sorry, Stork has a couple options. He can either go try and go hyper aggressive, which honestly can be somewhat difficult. Actually, he has DTs out, and he's going to try and hit this top left base hard. He's got 2 drones so far, and was not able to pick up that Overlord. Where did the, oh, it looks like Scourge came to chase the Corsairs away, otherwise they would have continued to harass that Overlord down. This DT could have been even more effective, but only two kills right now, and trying to get into the main of the top left, but an Overlord is there trying to get out of range of that Overlord, and does manage to do so, and now Hydra's going to have to just be very, very cautious with his Zerglings right now and his drones until that Overlord can get into position to allow him to get rid of that Dark Templar. So a little bit of decent harassment coming in here from Stork. He is throwing up some more gateways, and he is going the harassment route right now. We might even see a Robo and Shuttle brought in here to try and keep up the pressure on the 2 mains, try and jump the cliffs and things like that. And Mutila's actually coming in here and hitting the main of Stork, taking out the cannon, and now starting to pick at the probe count. But here comes some Corsairs. Looks like there should have been 4 or 5 Corsairs, but only 2 or 3 appearing there. And the Mutila's being split, but the Corsairs not being split. So poor Micro here by Stork. What is he doing? Not splitting up his Corsairs. Actually, it does look like he brought all the Corsairs, but he didn't split them up. He really should have split them up. And yeah, the Mutilas actually win that fight. That is astonishing that Stork allowed his Corsairs to be split up. He should have split or stacked like that. Should have split them up so that way the Mutila's glaive worms weren't bouncing as much. So he loses that battle. I mean, all those Mutilas are basically dead, very, very close. But that is a nuisance. That is something that I have to worry about, because any place where you don't have anti-air, obviously, those Mutilas can go and cause a lot of havoc. Looks like we got a DT and Zealots coming in here to the top right, natural expansion. Going to try and pull off some harass here. Looks like they are actually going to start picking off some drones. They do have the +1 upgrade, and they are picking off a lot of drones here. Looks like they picked off 6 or 7 drones so far, and they're going to continue hitting them. Now getting the gas drones a little bit, and just being very, very harassive here for for Stork, being very, very disruptive here so far. Looks like he might actually be setting up at the 6 o'clock base as well, trying to take that expansion. I think that would be very, very wise. 2 Archons being morphed by Stork. That is a lot of Archons, actually. He has the investment in Corsairs. He's got the +1 weapons, and only 3 Mutalisks still alive. So unless he knows something that I don't, unless he knows that Hydra is building a lot more Mutalisks, this is kind of an overcommitment of Templars into Archon tech. This is, I think this might actually end up being a very big error on Stork's part. There just aren't enough Mutalisks to warrant +1 weapons on Corsairs, plus building Corsairs, plus Archon production, especially with Hydras coming out now, starting to build up. He's going to need those storms, so I don't really like that play right now, but we'll see if he's if he knows something that we don't, or if he's got some kind of a timing push that may be extremely effective with these 2 Archons and 4 Zealots. It's obviously much later than the 2 Archon push that was one of those old style Archon push. Well, I don't even want to say old, but it was, because it's really not that old, but it was a popular push, was the 2 Archon push. Try and time it, and when your opponent just doesn't have any units, so the Archons are able to fight the Mutalisks, and then your Zealots are able to go in there, take out Sunken Colonies and drones and other things like that. And the Mutalisks coming back in here at the 6 o'clock position, and that's what I mean. 3 Mutalisks are all almost dead, but they're still able to stop that 6 o'clock base from coming up just because there's no more anti-air there. So that, I think the combination of those Corsairs being those Corsairs being mismicroed by Stork actually are having an influence on this game. Those 3 Mutalisks that were left is actually having a big influence on this game, because that 3rd base for Stork, if it comes up soon, is going to be very, very good for him. If it doesn't come up, that could end up losing him the game, because he just doesn't have the money to deal with everything that Hydra's going to be able to throw at him with 4 bases. We do have Hydra numbers starting to grow here, and the Mutalisks actually going to start getting picked off here by the Corsairs. Finally, Corsairs coming in here, and actually none of them die. Okay, one of them looks like they're going to die, but a lot of them were able to split off again. So still some Mutalisks out in the air. Not a whole lot left, very, very weak, and it looks like a couple of them were picked off. So maybe that will be the end of the Mutalisks. But now here come the Hydras. There are a couple of Stormers out, but these Archons, like I said, are going to be useless. They haven't really done anything to the Mutalisks because there were no Mutalisks, so these Archons are basically useless, and they could be, this could be 5 or 6 Storms right now that he could have. Instead, he's just got Archons, and he's trying to deal with these Hydras with just his Zealots and Archons right now. One of the Archons did go down, and the Zealots actually doing a pretty good job of doing a lot of damage to the Hydras, and it looks like a couple of High Templar trying to get in here could actually get picked off by the reinforcing Hydras of Hydra, and looks like Stork realizing this and pulling back, but he lost basically his entire force here. Just doesn't have any Storm. He doesn't have any Storm. Game 1 he forgot to research it. Game 3 here he doesn't have it because he morphed Archons instead of keeping them as High Templar. So he's using a couple Storms here because those High Templar were about to die. Did not do too much, and I think this game is about to come to a close. No 3rd base for Stork, 4 bases for Hydra, and Hydra in very good shape. So it looks like Stork's going to get eliminated here. Realistically, I mean, he could survive for a little bit longer, but without a 3rd base and Hydra on 4, probably getting Hive Tech up, not enough harassment. Some harassment being done by Stork, but this is really just awful for Stork, and this DT is doing a great job. 6 kills on that DT, just harassing these Hydra numbers right now. So that is something, but I just can't see how Stork's going to be able to operate on 2 base against 4. I just don't see it, especially without enough Storm right now. He is pushing out now with a lot of Zealots, with +2 weapons now. I do believe Hydra went for weapon upgrade rather than armor, which I think it was a mistake, and mismicroing some of the Hydras at the 6 o'clock position. And yeah, he does have +1 weapons, no armor. And there is Lurkers coming in there. Good Storm coming off by Stork, not enough to kill them. He needs another Storm in there to finish it off, but it doesn't look like he has any Robo, or Observers, I should say, outright yet. And here come the Lurkers and the Hydras once again into the natural expansion. They are going to sunken up here right outside and going to do a whole lot of damage, and there's some stacked Lurkers asking to die, and it looks like they are actually going to go down to Zealots here, and no more cannons coming up, it doesn't look like, and Stork actually going for the counterattack with these Zealots. There are 3 sunken colonies, which is a lot, but 2 +2 weapons could actually be enough to break this, so a base trade isn't going to do Stork a whole lot of good, but if he can get the base trade, maybe he can. Oh, what is Stork? Now he's pulling back his Zealots, being indecisive now, Stork. So I'm not really okay. Stork, this is over. With the whole natural falling here, nice Storm by Stork, but it's over really. Not able to do counter damage, losing a whole lot here at the front, and Hydra's pouring in, bunch of probes going down right now, and this game is over. Stork being, I don't know what to say. Stork just looked so off in this game. I mean, last game he looked pretty good. I think his Dragoon push out was a little mistimed, but other than that, he looked pretty good. And it does look like he's going to be able to defend here for now, but it's not going to matter. He's lost so much money, lost so much eco, no third base, and he's going to go down. But this game, Stork has just looked very, very off. In fact, in Pro League, if you've been watching Pro League, Stork has not looked good recently. In fact, against NBC, he lost twice against NBC to Hyun. Not even C. I mean, it's not even one of their top players. It's Hyun, who's a decent player, but there's no way that a player of Stork's caliber should be losing to Hyun twice in a series, particularly in an ace match. And I think something's off with Stork right now. You heard stories, if you've been reading interviews and staying up on top of the rumor mill, there are stories that, like, Stork, after breaking up with his girlfriend, maybe was going into a mini slump. I think he broke up with her right before playing fantasy in the OSL or something like that. And ever since, he's kind of been in kind of a mini slump, struggling. He's still winning games. He hasn't jangled it. He hasn't gone 0-20 yet or something awful, but he has been struggling. He actually is surviving right now, somehow, for now. I really don't see how this is going to last. He does have that third base up and running right now, but all it takes is just a squad of Zerglings going down there to shut it down. Stork just doesn't have the money to support that base with defenses and keep the pressure on. Right now, that base is surviving at the 6 o'clock position because of the pressure of these units that Stork has brought to bear. If this army is forced to retreat, if Stork can't keep up pressure at every second right now, he will lose that 6 o'clock base just because it's so easy for Hydra to get a little squad over there and take it down. But it does look like he's managed to keep up enough pressure that that Hydra is being a little bit timid here and hasn't actually thought to send a squad of Zerglings to the 6 o'clock position. Really surprised that he hasn't sent a squad over. Should have been one of the first things he did once that push out by Stork was coming. And he is morphing some more lurkers. He's got some more lurkers at his natural expansion as well. Of course, there's picking off some overlords, which has been pretty effective so far this game in terms of clearing up area for DTs to operate. So DTs for Stork have been pretty solid this game, getting kills at the top left at the natural expansion, as well as pecking at Hydra count pretty well. What else do we got here? Maybe Stork can keep this going. He does have some good. He does have 3 storms as well, 3 High Templars. So maybe with a win here in a battle, he could actually keep this going. But this would be a very impressive comeback if he's able to get back into this with his third base being as late as it was. If he's able to come back, this would be an incredible comeback. He does look like he's pushing at the natural expansion. He's got to be careful. Doesn't want to lose all those zealots to lurkers here, and he has to keep some of them alive in order to defend against the Hydras that are going to be coming in behind. So he should be pulling them back soon. But it does look like a lot of zealots have gone down, and he does have a High Templar in the back if he can get some good storms off as well as Archons. There's one of the storms is pretty decent. The one on the left was meh, but some average storms coming out here from Stork. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but he's going to try. He needs another storm on those clumped up lurkers, and it looks like Zealots have actually a storm got into the natural expansion, did a lot of damage, but it looks like the entire army has gone down for Stork, so he doesn't have anything left, unfortunately. He has no army left over. And Hydra's going to macro up here, and he's going to go for the counter kill right now. Hydra's going to be able to go for the counter push. We'll probably go straight for that 6 o'clock base, and you can see Stork sending all of his units to that 6 o'clock base. Both players know that is where it's going to be at. The main of Stork is mined out. The natural is nearly mined out. The battle is going to be at the 6 o'clock base, whether or not Stork can hold it right now. And Hydra on not even attack move, just regular move, so he's going to lose some Hydras here. A little bit sloppy there by Hydra. And a good storm coming off there on a bunch of units, including a couple of those lurkers taking some damage. And but the Stormer does go down. High Templar, he needs more storm. Needs more storm. Ooh! Stork needs more storm. Zergling's being mixed into the battle now as well. That High Templar needs to get a storm off before it dies, and it does not. And here comes the Hydra's actually hitting the Natrix, going for the second base of Stork. And a couple Hydras sent to the 6 o'clock position. Looks like they'll be able to destroy that base. Yeah, they will take down that cannon and actually will be able to beat that base on their own. And here come the Zerglings and the Hydras into the natural expansion, as well as lurkers coming in for the follow-up. So this is going to be GG. I called a little early before, but realistically the game is over even at that point. But Hydra is going to clean this up, and there's GG from Stork. He's going to get knocked out of the MSL, and if I have to be brutally honest, he did not deserve to advance against Hydra. I don't think Hydra was perfect. Hydra did play well, not imperfect, but he did play well, and was definitely the better player in this series. And so he's going to advance on into the round of 8. We'll get to see who he matches up against. If he gets a Zerg, we could actually see him advance into the round of 4 or even into the finals, and if he can continue to work on his phenomenal ZVZ. Otherwise, if he gets a Terran or a Protoss, we'll get to see some interesting action there as well. See how he deals with some different matchups. But that should be it. So this is going to be at the end of this series. Hydra advancing 2-1. Next series will be, I'll decide right now. I'm going to go do 0 versus Hero. because I love Zero. And so that should be a ZVZ coming at you next. And yeah, I guess I will see you guys all there. Zero versus Hero set 2 coming next.